Welcome to Physics 101. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the course. So each week you'll have assignments due in Mastering Physics. Those are accessible right here at this link under course content, okay? So you always go here for the weekly assignments in Mastering Physics anyway. And I'm showing you all the assignments at once for all the 5 weeks. During week 1, there's actually 4 assignments that you can do. But it's important for you to realize that only the lab and the textbook exercises are entered into the gradebook. These others are useful. There's an introduction to mastering physics, and that's important for you to do because it gives you an idea of how mastering physics actually operates. And there's tutorials that help you learn the material better. But your grade will be based on your performance in the lab and the textbook exercises. See, in week 2, you have a lab and textbook exercises and another tutorial. Week 3, a lab, exercises, tutorials. But in any given week, it's just a lab and the textbook exercises that go in the grade book. Week 4, there's only a lab and textbook exercises, as is the case for week 5, okay? And the dates are here, the due dates, and they're due the last day of each week by midnight, Phoenix time. All right. Now, there's another assignment due each week. So during this first week, there's a discussion area. And you'll notice here that, it gives the title of the discussion and a due date. It says due Thursday, but it also gives a due date that corresponds to the following Monday. And the time you see here will be your local time. Okay, everything's based on midnight in Phoenix, but I'm on Eastern time, so it would be just before 3 a.m. my time. If you go here, it's really all explained right here in the instructions. Okay, you have a discussion topic, and you're supposed to respond to the topic by Thursday. And this is the topic. It's a question. You're supposed to answer all parts of the question with at least 175 words. And remember, that should be by Thursday. If you post after Thursday, I'm going to start deducting due to lateness. By Monday, you're expected to post 2 replies to other responses in the discussion thread. So that could be even to one of my responses. If you see something that I've posted that you want to respond to, that's okay. It would count towards this. Okay. But you should reply to at least 2 of your classmates or instructor by Monday. I don't count words, but be, like it says, be constructive and professional. I'm really not too critical of these, but if you say something like, I agree, or that's cool, or I like your name, those are not considered substantive answers, so I won't give you much credit in that case. But otherwise, any substantive reply to another post will get full credit. Speaking of credit, I use a rubric, and I've loaded the rubric already, so I'm going to show it to you. It's kind of complicated, so I'll just briefly describe it. But if you look here, out of 100%, 40%, which is the biggest portion of all these different criteria, is based on promptness. I consider it important to be on time. So if you post by Thursday, I won't deduct any points. If you post by, Friday, then you'll lose 10% of this 40%, which would be, it's a 40 points total, and 40% of 40 is 16 points. And if I take 10% off of 16, that's 1.6 points. So you're going to lose a little less than 2 points for each day late out of 40. but people are supposed to reply to your responses. So it's important to get your response up there on time, so that other people can read your response and potentially reply to it. Word count, it only counts as 10% of the total of 40 points. So it's not worth a huge amount. If you come up a little short, you lose a small percentage, but it's not a big deal usually. Okay, but keep it in mind. A slightly bigger amount is assigned to the content of your response, and also your replies to the other students. So, I'm not very particular on the content. I mean, if I see that you made a real effort to answer the question, all parts of the question, you'll probably get full credit on this. If you skip parts of the question, you'll lose a little bit, and it's explained here. If you answer all parts of the question, even if it's not really, from my point of view, a correct answer, I probably won't deduct any points. However, if you simply ignore a part of the question, I'll deduct, a portion of your score. If you skip two parts, I'll deduct more. And sometimes students don't really even answer the question; they answer some different question, and you'll lose a quarter of the credit for this. And sometimes students post something that just doesn't make any sense at all. And I give you a little credit for posting something, but not a lot. And of course, if you don't answer it, you don't get any credit at all. And then this last criterion uh, applies to your replies to the other student responses. So if you don't post anything, obviously you'll get 0 for that. Again, I'm not too particular about the content, but say more than that you simply agree with that student's post or whatever. Make a substantive comment. If you post any of your replies after the participation deadline, which would be Monday, then they'll automatically be considered not substantive. You'll still get partial credit. If you if you post 2 replies, but they're both late, you'll get, this amount of the, you get a quarter of the full number of points associated with it. So in this case, this part counts as 10 points. You would get a quarter of 10, or 2.5 points only. You get half of that if you only post 1 reply that's late. Obviously, if you don't reply at all to any of your classmates' responses, you don't get any credit. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay. And I think much of the rest is self-explanatory. So those are really the things that you need to do to get scores in the grade book. So you have to do each week a lab assignment and textbook assignment, which I showed you is found here under assignments. You have to respond to the discussion topic. There is reading material. A lot of times students ask me, where's the book? Well, the book is right down here under learning activities. So if you go under learning activities, here are your chapter readings. So just click on those. It'll take you into the textbook. So make sure you read all that. Okay, it's all here. Also, I haven't added them yet, but usually I'll add some applets that help you learn some interactive applets that help you understand some of the concepts for that week. So keep checking. Sometimes I add applets as we go through the week. They're not required or anything, but they're often useful and helpful and kind of fun. Make sure that you, again, it's not required, but you might want to post some information about yourself. You can post as much or as little as you want. Quite a few students have already posted here. This helps me a little bit understand your situation. And, it's nice to introduce yourself to other students in the class. But again, if you don't like to do this, if you're uncomfortable about talking about yourself in this kind of a forum, that's okay. Don't worry, you don't have to do it. And if you have any questions, the best place to ask them is here. Okay, it's in the course questions area. I already had a question here, which I replied to. Okay, and I also answered it in this video. Okay, so that's all for now. I will also be holding a weekly live meeting, usually on Thursdays at 9 o'clock Eastern time, which is 6 o'clock Phoenix time. So look under the weekly module, and toward the bottom, you should see that I haven't done it yet, but I'll add a meeting. It's optional, but it'll be your opportunity, if you can attend the meeting, to ask questions and get live help. I apologize for the less than polished delivery of this information, but I think I covered all the important bits. If you were able to make it through to the end, it should have answered just about any question you might have. Oh, one last thing that came to mind: messages. So, I might post messages to you, or you might want to send me a message. This is the place to go. Usually this is the first link I click when I open the classroom. So it's a good idea. I'll always go to messages and see if there's anything from me. And again, if you want to communicate with me, this is the best place to do it. And I'll also be posting regular announcements, so make sure you read the announcements. And some of those are video announcements, so I'll give you some information in video form as we go along. And I believe that's finally it. So I'll see you in class.